Yeah, last time we learned already about the bootstrap. So in this case, I teach you how to make the contact. So in this case, this is the contact.html, and we try to use the container. And there's one example about a container. We want to define the column, and we use some kind of class definition. In this case, we have MD. What is the MD here? It is the medium size. Okay, so there are 4 classes. You can use XS, SM, MD, and LG. Okay. So the XS is the extra small. It is for phone, and then SM it is small for tablets. MD it is typically for desktop or laptops, and LG it is for larger desktop. So you can specify in the column or in any other places, like say in this P, it determines the classes. H4 means the heading for, and then MB means, yeah, this is another kind of class. So if you determine the MB or MD, it is the medium size, and then it determines how many columns that you will generate or how many places you will generate in one column. So in every class, in the Bootstrap, you can define the size, and you can define where you want to put that item. For example, this is a form, and then you define the class. The text will be in the center, and then you will have a border of the form, and then you will have the border line, and so on. So there are so many classes in the Bootstrap that you can refer to. If I run this, so if I run this, then yeah, you can try to specify what kind of text or what kind of format you want to use for this HTML file. I think you already know type. The type is text. It means you can input anything. And the ID is something about the variable ID. Again, the class. So the class you can get from the Bootstrap. It is in the form control, and then yeah, it is about the size. It is also about the form control, and then it's about the size. If the type is email, then this should be about the email address. Oh, okay, maybe because it is only the HTML. Okay, if you click this one, send, then it will tell you that because of the form type is email, then it requires full name, the @ symbol to represent it is an email. So this is the selection. So last time I also teach you, this is the selection, or this is the drop down, and yeah, there's also another class to define the Bootstrap. And if the first value is just giving you the option, like the title, choose option. So the choose option will be disabled, or you will not see anything from this choose option. The feedback will be the first. And because it is selected, then now the cursor will be in this selection. And then you can choose what is the option, whether you want to report above or you want to do the feature request, and etc. In the text area, you can also design. So this is another class, form control. In the first section, we learn about the text area, but we do not define any classes. So this class is from the Bootstrap. So at the time, we just define what are the number of rows and then what is the placeholder. The placeholder means the name in this text area, and then in this text area we have 1, 2, 3 rows. But we define with the class form control rounded 0. So I guess this is the rounded 0. So you can also expand in the original HTML. Maybe you have some limited function, but in the Bootstrap you can have more functions, how to expand and etc. In the checkbox, you can also have the class, and then the type is checkbox, and you can have the class, which is about the custom control input. And this is the label class. Send me a copy of this message. So maybe this is not that different with the existing HTML. And the buttons. So the button. So you can see we have the btn means the button, and then we can also have another class, btn info, and then we want to make it as a block. So a block is like this one. So in this, as I mentioned to you, the span can be like this one. So the sample with the free column layout, you can see like this one. We can specify a container, and we can specify one row, and in one row we can have 3 different columns. As we know that the span will be 12. If the span is 12, so if we divide into 4 and 4, then there will be 3 different columns, and each of the column has the size medium 4. And this medium, it is good for the desktop or laptop. And I think I will just give you the basic things. This is about the color and background. Bootstrap gives us contextual classes for background classes. So if it is related with the backgrounds, then you can just specify bg.bg, and then you can specify what kind of colors do you want to present. If it is primary, then the color will be like this. If it is success, then the color will be this one. If it is info, then this one. If it is warning, this one. And if it is danger, then this is red color. So you don't need to specify the color name, because in computer we have the color as much as 255 for the RGB. So if you want to specify a specific color, then you need to specify for the R any number in 255, and then for the G you need to specify another number, which is from 0 until 255, and then the blue also from 0 until 255. Then you will have a specific color. So if you have difficulties to specify the colors, then you can use the existing template from Bootstrap. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 colors, the basic colors in Bootstrap. Now in this case, we have the button. So in the button case, we can use the btn, and then we can specify the dash. For example, in this example, we use the btn info. So if you change this to danger, then you will get automatically the button becomes red. So you don't need to specify the color. Maybe you want to change this button to success. Then it will automatically change to green. So with the very special class, you can directly implement with the color. Now I'm going to explain to you how we can make table. How can we create more tables? And I'm going to use Bootstrap. Yeah, there is one additional JavaScript with the Bootstrap. So let me just use the. Okay, let me use this one. Let me create this into the views.py. So the data is the same with this index2, but the access will be different. Now I'm going to access the hello table.html. And then let's say I'm going to create a new path, which is 7. Okay, I'm going to make a new path, which is 7. And there is a new HTML. The HTML is hello table.html. So I'm going to put it into the templates and create the HTML file, hello table.html. Just update the HTML file with the code I gave to you in the PowerPoint. And then let's see the result. Okay, if you use the Bootstrap template with the JavaScript and some other things in the Bootstrap, you can easily get a fancy table like this one with more functions. For example, you want to sort the city name, and you can sort whether you want to do the ascending sort or descending sort. The population, you can sort based on the smaller number or based on the larger number. So the same with the country, whether you want to sort based on the facts, USA, Japan, India, etc. And this one give you some pagination. Pagination means if your data is more than 10, then you can show the first 10 data. Or if you want to show 25 data. Or if you want to search. So you don't need to make any search function because it embeds the search function with, for example, I want to check every single data with C. So it will show any data with C. If I want to check A, then it will give you the information every data related with A. So USA, Japan, Chicago, Mumbai, and so on. So it means, nowadays there are many functions or there are many libraries that you can use to make it the code is easier. So let's take a look how we can develop this code. The first part of this code contains the link. So this is the link to connect to one of the bootstrap related to data tables. So if you click this one, so this is the code that you can use to write the data tables with the bootstrap template. Of course, if we want to connect to this one, there should be a connection with the bootstrap. So this is a link to connect to the bootstrap. And make sure that, yeah, this is the version. Make sure that you connect to the relevant version. If the version now is 4, yeah, you can adjust the font, but most probably you can still use the previous version. So this is the JavaScript file. It will connect to the related data tables and the bootstrap information. So if you connect to this one, you will see, yeah, this is the JavaScript. We will learn how to understand the JavaScript later. For this purpose, I'm going to use one JavaScript. In this case, this is a JavaScript, and I would like to make a function. So this is a function. Whenever I have a data table, look at the ID example and then run the data table. That's the meaning by this one. So the dollar sign means a query. So find any ID and the ID name is example and connect to the data table. So this data table is related with the data table given in this data table. So this is something that, yeah, you can just connect directly to the bootstrap. In the body section, I think you know already, it's 1p, and then this is a container. Now the table, you can see the table ID is example. So this ID example means the example that I want to send to the data table. The class, yeah, you can define the class. In this case, I'm just using this class. So if you want to check what class is good for the table, you can search on the bootstrap data table. There is yeah, this is the data tables that you can connect. So you can connect with the CSS, you can connect with the JavaScript, and then you can initialize your data table. And this one is an example. So it's free. You can just reuse it for creating any table in your web. Let's say if you want to see some examples here, you can have examples, and then they also show you how to create the tables, how to use the CSS, which version of the CSS that you need to use, and how can you connect to your JavaScript, and how you can create your HTML so that it fits with the data. And this is the result based on this code. So you can select any kind of class that you want from the existing example. And okay, let's see. We have this PH head, P head. It means this is the header. So the header we have 3, which is city name, population, and countries. And then we have this the data in the cities. This is the data in the backend. So the remaining are the same. The only difference is only the ID. We just give the ID and then let the format will be from the CSS. So you do not care about the format. So once you know already about the table information and how you get the information from the backend. And then, for example, if you use database, okay, so next week we will start to use the database. If we connect to the database and then show it into the web, then how you make it into the table. For the format, you can just extract from the bootstrap. Okay. Now, let's have another example. And in this example, I will use a not very complex, but yeah, it's more complex than the previous one. And I'm going to use the bootstrap with some kind of information to combine the base, the home, and block, and some other things. So let's make a new folder, block 3. Okay, I will make a new directory. And the name of the directory is block 3. I will use similar to the one that we developed before, which is base.html, but now it will be different. So let's try. Okay, I will copy this one and then create the HTML base.html. So this will be the base. I hope you still remember about this one. Now I'm creating another HTML, which is home. And then I'm creating another HTML, which is block. And then I'm creating another HTML, which is contact.html. And then I'm creating the last one, info.html. So in total, you have 5 HTML files. Okay. And when you have your web page later, of course, you will have more than this one. So your assignment 1, I think you created 1 HTML. But later, when you want to make a comprehensive website, yeah, it will be more than 1. Now let's try to understand the views.py. Okay. So in this case, I will make contact 2. Maybe I missed some. Oh, okay. So let's make a new function in the views.py. So let me give contact to, so it will connect to the folder block3, and then it will connect to the contact.html. And then I will again just use this data. Okay. Let's just use the index4 function. And then I will use this additional link in the urls.py. I'm afraid there's some errors here. Yeah, it is the same. I guess in the home and the blog. Okay, I'm sorry. I think I missed this one. For the home and the blog, let's change it to the block3, because at the first time it will go to block2. So let's just change to block3, and then for the block also change to block3. Okay. So now you can generate your HTML file in the Django, and now you can see the template, and yeah, that this is home. If you go to blog, then you can go to the blog. If you go to contact, oh, this one. Okay, let's try to figure out how if we want to access the contact. So I have the contact.html in the block3. So how if I want to connect to the contact? If I want to connect to the contact here, this is the contact to, and it will go to the contact.html. Okay. And then I already specify the URL. What is the URL? I specify the name contact to. Then if you want to go to the contact to from this contact, what will you do? First, you need to see where is this code. Where is this contact to? Okay, let's go to home. Is there any navigation for the contact? Is there any navigation for the contact here? No. So where is the contact? Is it in the block? This is also no, because it uses extend. Is it in the base? Yes. Now we can see the contact. Okay. Now, how I can connect this contact to the contact that I just created? You need to call the name. How to call the name? How to call the name? We need to use the tag, and then we specify the URL. So what is the URL name? What we just created, it was the contact to. So just call the name contact to. Now it appears. And if you check this one, if you again refresh, then it will go to this. Okay. But actually this is not what you want. As I remember, there's the contact to. Where is the contact? Contact.html here. Okay. Okay, so if you want to connect to the other things, you can just connect to the name, and then you can connect to them. Now, I do not want to make only this without the header, without the navigation. Because this one, I do not have the home, I do not have the blog. So how can I connect to this navigation? If you look at the blog, then we have the extend. We have the blog content. And let's figure out this one. So at this moment, we do not need this one. So we can just replace with the extend, because I want to extend it to the base.html, and then I can make a block. So the block of the content will be about the contact, and then at the end, I need to end the block. I need to do the end. Okay, so let's see. Is it enough to connect to your web? Refresh. No, it doesn't work. The contact block tree. Okay. It's not enough. Why? Okay, it should be okay. Yeah, should be block 3, contact 2. What URLs? Block 3, contact 2. Yeah. This one is contact.html. This is the block contact. Okay. So what happened? Why it doesn't work? Because when you specify the URLs, you have the same contact twice. Okay, so they will check the first one and they will not check the later one. So it means you need to make another link. Now let's make this link. Then now you can see the navigation bar. Okay. So please be careful whenever you make the whenever you create the link, you should make different link names. Even though they have the same, even though they have the different name, contact and contact to, okay, but if you have the same link, it will always go to the every first link. Okay? It will not go to the other link, even though the name is different. Okay? Now, actually, I have another index form. So I want to show it into the navigation bar. How can I show this one? So I have this data, and the data is the index form, and I want to show it into the navigation bar. So I want to create one new menu here, data. And then when I click the data, I want to see the table. Then how can I create that one? First, you need to make a new navigation. Okay. So the new navigation will be from the page. You have home, you have blog, you have contact, you have FAQ. Now let's make a new menu. Let's say I want to connect to the data. And then I will connect to the data link or the data URL. And then after I collect the data URL, let's see, this data will go to the index form. And this index form will go to the data.html. Okay, this is not available. Okay, so because this is not available, then you need to create your data.html. Now, before we have the hello table. The hello table, it is based on the index 3. It is based on the index 3. It is in the 7. Okay. So if I click 7, this one, it shows this table. Okay. Now let's just assume that I want to move this page into the navigation. So I want to put the navigation here. So what can I do for this one? I can move all the hello table HTML. I can copy and paste this one, and then I can create a new HTML data like this one. This is the first step. So if I click home, now you can see data, and if I click data, it goes to this page. But okay, we have problem how to make the navigation. So the navigation will be based on the extend function. Okay. So you need to specify the extend function. Okay, you can copy this extend function into the data. Now, my question, can we delete this part? No. Why? If we delete this part, then the table format will be also missing. We cannot see the table. Then how can we deal with this kind of problem? So there are two ways. I think in the first time I explained to you, whenever we use this kind of link, we can specify in the heading. That's the first. Or second, we can specify in the body. So I will call this one. I will make the end block. Do the end block. Okay, and then for this one, I can replace it and put in the body. Sometimes people use this kind of link at the end of the body, not in the end, not in the beginning of the body. So we can just remove this one. And then extract. Then you will get your navigation. And the table format is still remaining like this one. So when you click home, you can see this is the home. When you see block, maybe this will show to you. When you click the contact, now you will see the contact, okay? And the navigation still exists. When you click the data, you can see the column and the navigation still in that position. Okay. So, yep, you already learned how to use the filters, but the filters that I explained to you is just the basic one. So I already explained to you what the include and extend, and I explained to you what the CSS, the bootstrap, and then how we can apply the comprehensive example with bootstrap. Okay, any questions? Okay, until now, I guess you already know how to create the, at least the front end. This is the simple front end with the bootstrap. From next week, we will learn how to develop the back end with the database. Okay.